You're welcome to this week's edition of the Magnates. Remember that this program will parade professionals, eminent veterans from different and diverse backgrounds. Today won't be an exception. The economy has been in the front burner. Are you coping with the inflation? The high trend, cost of living? Well, we have somebody who is eminently qualified to analyze it for us, the way it concerns you and I. We call it mentoring on television. You call it lending a voice to business growth. We are going to be doing all that on this program today by our Magnate, who is here wearing different caps. Let's give you his citation. By the time you say that, you agree with me that yes, we have made a good choice. We'll be back shortly.
Niyi Yusuf is the managing partner at Veraki Partners. He is a skilled transformation change manager with over 25 years' experience leading government and private organizations as they navigate strategic change and new IT initiatives. In his client engagements, Niyi has focused on all phases of transformation and system development life cycle and has led teams in planning, implementation, PMO, requirements definition, design, conversation, testing, and adoption of IT systems. His main assets to any assignment are his high level of commitments and the ability to work to higher standards and rise to difficult challenges with client personnel to identify, design, and implement real improvements to the way an organization works. Niyi is a fellow of the African Leadership Initiative and a member of the Aspen Global Leadership Network. He is currently facilitating the establishment of a not-for-profit focused at preparing undergraduates for the world for work. Niyi is the vice chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, NESG. He graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria, with a Bachelor's of Science degree, combined honors in computer science and economics in 1990. He joined Accenture, the then Arthur Andersen, in 1995 after a 4-year stint with JKK, a Nigerian IT company. He has worked in Nigeria and offshore implementing IT-enabled business solutions for clients in banking, insurance, manufacturing, telecoms, public sector and oil, and AMP, gas industries. Niyi is an advocate for integrity, hard work, selfless service to the community, and an enduring belief and trust in God. He is now focused on large-scale transformation projects that seek to affect the way the people and business in Nigeria live and work. Niyi is a fellow of the 5th class of the African Leadership Initiative, West Africa.
This is the Magnate, and it's my great pleasure to welcome to the studios of Ames Media Company Limited, Mr. Niyi Yusuf. He is the managing partner of Veraki and vice chair of Nigeria Summit Group. You are welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so the Magnate, lending a voice to business growth. That's what you are going to be doing for us today. As the vice chair of the Summit Group, how is the Nigerian economy?
The Nigeria Economic Summit Group, NESG, it's a group of private sector leaders that have decided to provide a platform to promote dialogue within the public and the private sector. And of recent, we've also then included the social sector, so that hopefully this dialogue between the public, private, and social sector of the economy can help accelerate the Nigerian economy. The Nigerian economy has been struggling, I think to put it nicely. We've been struggling since 2006, 2008, when you had the global mortgage crisis and recession. And then the last 2 years, it's been the effect of the pandemic and the lockdown. And of course, we also have our own peculiar issues of insecurity that has bedeviled the nation. And so the economy is struggling and the economy is underperforming.
Interesting. What do you think is the effects or the impact it has had on businesses, individuals?
One of the accepted measures of development is GDP, gross, and some also consider human development, which is the stock of education, health, and how it affects your individual. And if you look at both, you see different pictures. So if you look at the Human Development Index, we are at the bottom. We have the highest number of kids out of school. We have, in terms of education, we are witnessing a lot of Nigerians migrating out of the country. the youth who have a choice. Brain drain. That it's caused
Losing
by
our best hands, so to say.
absolutely. And so there's no Nigerian university who's in the top 1,000 university. There's a disconnect between the output of our university system and the needs of the business environment. If you look at health, we have a health insurance system where less than 5% of us are covered by the HMO, which means 95% of the average Nigerian spends out of pocket. And there's nothing that turns you from being a rich person to a poor person than a health condition. If you have a health condition, you start begging for money, right? And that's why every year we have more than $1 billion going out on medical tourism. People going to India, or recently going to Ghana, those who have a choice. The same thing in the education system. Kids travel out to different countries. And so we're losing hard-earned money in pursuit of health and education. Now, if you look at it from a GDP point of view, we're the largest economy
Supposedly.
on the continent. I think we are. We're the largest economy on the continent, well over $400 billion in terms of the size of the economy. But if you then look at it on a per capita basis, right, that $400+ billion, if you divide it by the 200 million persons, then you realize that the per capita basis, it's very low, right, compared to what you have in other climes. So it's been difficult for individuals, it's been difficult for businesses. There's a huge population, 200 million, that attracts businesses because they see that as a potential consumer base. But in a country where more than half of us live on less than $2 a day, which is high poverty.
That's exactly where I'm going to
Yeah,
start.
so it then means that the purchasing power is
very low.
Very low.
Okay. Now, there's inflation, there's recession. So what does that place us, particularly for those who are not even employed?
My attitude to the issue of Nigeria is really a case of, is this cup half empty or is it half full? Or like a friend of mine said, the cup is full. You know, one half is water, the other half is hair, right? But the cup is full, right? So you could look at the pessimistic view and say, okay, yeah, there's insecurity, there's corruption, there's poverty, there's kidnapping, etc. But in this same situation, right, you have, in the last 5 years, you have companies like Dangote that are expanding and doing well.
Exactly.
You have companies like Flutterwave, fintechs owned by young Nigerians that are doing excellently well. You have companies like Paga Africa that are doing well. You have individuals like Okonjo-Iweala that are excelling on the global scale. Whether you look at sports, you look at music, the Davidos of this world, the creatives, individuals are excelling. And so what that suggests to me is that if you have the right system, if the right system will allow more individuals to be their best, to compete, and to excel on a global scale.
You serve on different platforms to be able to ensure or contribute to the economic well-being of this country. And in sitting or analyzing them to different conferences, there must have been some form of suggestions to the panel. What exactly are we not doing right?
It's multifaceted, really. Clearly, there's a leadership problem, but there's also a huge followership problem because the leaders emerge from the followers. The leaders are a reflection of the society. So we need to work on the leadership pipeline and how we elect leaders. That is one. And the second thing, it's also, we are yet to agree on the kind of economy that we want.
Good.
And I say that bearing in mind that I'm from the private sector, and my own view is that we need to have a private sector-led economy, right? If you look at a few sectors where things are thriving, there are sectors where
they're privately owned.
They're privately led, if I can use that word. So if you look at telecoms, we used to have Nitel for donkey years, and now we talk of the telecom, the mobile
The giants.
Absolutely. If you look at broadcasting, where you're at, so it used to be FRCN and NTA, but it's been
Decentralization,
you're right.
and
I mean,
deregulation.
it's been deregulated, and then you now have private enterprises, and they're thriving. If you look at entertainment, it's led by the private sector. They're thriving. Even if you look at banking, right, it used to be tally number, right, and then it was deregulated. Private enterprises, entrepreneurs came in, and it's flourished. So the different sectors where we've allowed the private capital, private knowledge, and entrepreneurs to take charge, I think we've seen a difference. And so I would say we need to do that in other areas, right? I mean, let the government focus on the social infrastructure, which for me will be education, will be health, will be security. And then let the private sector basically take care of the rest.
This angle you have brought is quite interesting, because I remember those days when one was still in core, public sector. They brought the issue of privatization and commercialization. You're saying that did not in any way help? I'm just asking. I mean, I'm just like asking an ignorant question. So assuming I don't know anything.
We need to ask ourselves that how effectively did
they let go?
Did they do it? I mean, we have a sore case in Ajakuta, for instance.
Yes.
Right. So sometimes not doing anything is better than half-hearted attempts, right? But where we have let go and allowed the private sector to lead, and government plays the role of a regulator, and the private sector is able to compete. Competition brings out the best, and consumers,
healthy rivalry,
absolutely drives innovation, reduces cost, improves customer service, and everybody benefits. And I think that's what we need to get into. Let there be private competition as opposed to public monopoly.
Okay, another thing that came out from there now is we hear of PPP. Has that not helped in any way? Because you say public-private partnership. Is that what it means?
Sadly, we have a history of saying the right things, but not doing the right things.
Okay.
Right. I could challenge you to tell me 3 PPP schemes that you're aware of.
Really...
No, that we've even done.
You will be the one to tell you. Are the one mentoring us.
what PPP schemes have we really done? So we say it, but we don't do them. I mean, the nearest you can think of is the Lekki Lekki Expressway, which was done in form of a PPP scheme, right? But the people complained, and now it's fully back to a public scheme, right? When it was PPP, the roads were maintained and okay, right? So we want to do PPP, but we've not done PPP. We just keep talking of doing PPP scheme. Absolutely, right? But what is clear is that the government doesn't have enough resources. Yeah, the government doesn't have enough resources. I mean, our budget is
funded with loan.
Yeah. So the government doesn't have enough resources. And if you don't have enough resources, what you do is allow private capital to come in. And then you focus on regulation. You focus on areas where private capital would not like to go because of the risk involved. And then let private capital do the areas where they can deploy capital. So for instance, why do we have airports, roads maintained by the government? Don't have to. Even in UK, I mean, the Gatwick Airport is now owned by a consortium led by a Nigerian, right?
That's a great history.
Absolutely. So we have a history of celebrating that as Nigerians. We celebrate and say, oh, Gatwick is now run by Bayo's company, right? But you ask yourself, why can't we do that in Nigeria?
Part of the things that make the economy not to thrive is the issue of insecurity, which we have been inundated with lately. Research shows that a lot of expatriates have run for their dear life. People are not coming on. How far do you think this insecurity can really affect the Nigerian economy?
I think it's clear to anyone that's studying that we are greatly feeling the impact of insecurity. That the food inflation that we are witnessing today is due to insecurity, because farmers can't go to farm. Either their farm is ridden over by Eds, or they are kidnapped, right? And so if you miss the planting season, then when it comes to harvest, there's nothing to harvest because you've not planted. Insecurity has even affected the foreign direct investment. FDI into Nigeria has reduced dramatically and keeps reducing. I was involved in a case about 2 years ago with a big technology giant, one of the big global technology company, and they wanted to set up a research center, and they ended up choosing Accra. It was very painful, and the reason was that their research fellows, who will be foreigners, feel more comfortable walking the streets of Accra at 10 p.m. than they will walking the streets of Lagos at 10 p.m. because of insecurity. You know? So we're losing talent, we're losing opportunities, we're losing capital. We're seeing high food inflation due to insecurity. So it's an ill wind.
And we're having with us, chatting with us here, mentoring us and giving insight, Mr. Niyi Yusuf, the managing partner of Veraki. Let's go for a short break. When we come back, the conversation continues. You're welcome back. This is still the Magnate, and we have with us giving insight into the Nigerian economy. That's what he knows how to do best. Mr. Niyi Yusuf is the managing partner of Veraki and also the vice chair of Nigeria Economic Summit Group. You're welcome to the Magnate, sir. Your core area is the area of IT. We know technological-driven businesses. How do you think the young entrepreneurs can use IT to grow their business?
I think we've seen many examples of how young people are growing their business. And if nothing else, the lockdown of last year has accelerated.
Opened the vista.
Absolutely. Accelerated the digitalization and the acceptance of it. I've seen young individuals running their business from their homes. I see many running businesses from their cell phones, right? I mean, why some of us use our cell phones to chat, some use it for business, some use it for marketing, some use it as a means of payment, some use it to place orders or to receive orders, and so the smartphone or the phone has become a huge tool or work tool that SMEs are using. That is one. Second is that we see a lot of SMEs that are now selling things online. And when you sell things online, either through your website or through Facebook or through your Instagram, you have a global 24/7 audience. So your audience is no longer limited to the people on, the people on the streets where your shop is. But your audience is really global 24. But that then means you also need to have a quality, world-class products that you can serve. Thirdly, we've seen a shift or successes from those who sell services as opposed to those who sell products. Because services, they're not tangible, and so you're not going to the ports to import or to export and face the challenge of that we have in at the ports. But services can be rendered remotely, and so today we have folks here who are working for companies in the US and who are earning dollars, supporting companies offshore, providing their skills and their talent and making those available online to support other companies anywhere.
We allude to the fact that a lot of high unemployment in the country. But even when you want to employ some of these school leavers, how employable are they? Or is this something that you have to import the qualified ones to run your business?
So, I mean, I think that there are two questions. Employability is low, right? And I think to my mind is that we're not doing enough of having curriculum that is integrated with the need of the business. Schools, be it universities or polytechnics, are factories if I can use that analogy, factories that
Mold as they should be.
that are producing product, and the product is future workers, right? And so if you look at your typical factory, if you want to sell a milk or produce a milk, you will do consumer study, you will do random sampling, you will do blind testing, and all of that stuff, just to be sure that your product, the milk you want to produce, will be acceptable to the consumers.
Buyers.
How are we doing that in the education system? Right? Because the buyers, the employers are the ones who are taking the talent. We are not speaking to the, there's a huge disconnect between the town and the gown. And so we're producing students that may or may not be very relevant for the needs of the education center. So that's the first thing that needs to change. The second thing that also needs to change to drive employability is the teachers, the lecturers, right?
We're trained on it.
The lecturers need to be in tune with the changes in the environment. Otherwise, they'll keep producing using old scripts.
I know that some companies, particularly those in the tech businesses, they go, I know, for instance, like Unilag, I think one electronic company is sought brilliant, the top students to give them scholarship, and then at the end of the day, maybe they employ them also. Don't you think companies should also do that?
A lot of companies are doing that. When I was in at Anderson Accenture, we used to have the Anderson Scholar in the first 6 universities, you know. But for me, we need to have something institutional, right? And what is institutional? It's something that can then scale. So instead of doing something for 5 students here, for 10 students here, we need to do it for provide the opportunity for the entire student body, which is why it has to be something coordinated.
You are so passionate about this mentoring thing. I now wonder how your membership or so many of these leadership and mentoring bodies have really assisted you, or is just the job by choice or by out of passion that you do it?
I don't think it's passion. I think it's just a sense of responsibility.
Okay.
Right. I rode on the shoulders of giants, most who didn't even know me, right? Who had no reason to offer their back to me to get to where I am today. And so I feel that I have an obligation to also
back.
Absolutely to also give back. And so that's what I do, and it's been fulfilling, right? It's been fulfilling. Every interaction leaves you a better person. You touch someone, but you are also touched because you learn a lot from interacting with you. Absolutely.
You are the present sitting president of NASFAT, which is a global body, as it were, even though faith-based. But how do you think some of these leadership positions you have occupied previously is assisting you now in that very, very big shoes that you are fitting in?
Leadership is a journey, and there are always building blocks, right? I mean, so one of the things that I found useful now as the president of NASFAT, it's that little word called patience, right? So I'm naturally not a patient person.
Oh, really?
Progressing in NASFAT has shown me that you need to balance your need for speed with the need to also make sure you carry as many people as possible along. And so that has given me a lot of patience. That is one. Also, tenacity, that you need to persevere and just keep at it. And you keep knocking until the walls come down. And those are things I've learned from the various places where I've chosen community service. And thirdly, it's just understanding that it's important to keep communicating, right? And you must communicate and communicate and communicate and communicate till everybody understands what it is.
Tired of it.
Yeah, so that they understand what you're saying, why it's important, and what they need to do to contribute.
Interesting.
And so those are some of the things that doing community service helps to do. And personally, it has also helped to deepen and enrich my own network, right? I say to people that, there are few persons that I want to contact that I need just 2 phone calls. right? I need to call somebody who will know somebody who will get that person, right? But that's because...
network.
Absolutely. So that's because I've served in various
capacities
in various organizations, on various platforms.
Adding value.
And I've contributed. And so that makes it easy to be able to knock on the door and say, okay, can you help with this?
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Now, finally, what's your counsel? We started from a gloomy note in terms of looking at the economy. The state of the economy is biting hard. In fact, even the rich also cry.
I mean, a few things. One is nothing lasts forever, right? Good times don't last forever. Bad times also don't last forever. So whatever bad patch we are in now will not last forever. It will change. And so we must never give up hope. And with that said, every person should understand that within the crisis lies opportunity. And so the crisis that we see in Nigeria today, it's an opportunity for entrepreneurs.
To come out.
Absolutely. So instead of looking at the gloomy side, ask yourself, what can I do to make a difference?
Think outside the box.
Absolutely. In fact, like a friend of mine said, just shatter the box. Don't put yourself in any box. Shatter the box. I know there's this quote, some watch things happen. Some make things happen. And some wonder why something has happened. And some ask themselves, why can't this happen?
I'll move my chase.
Absolutely. So you need to be in the group of those that ask themselves, why can't we make this so happen?
Thank you so much. I've been mentored today on the Magnate. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you, ma'am.
It has been a long wait, but fulfilling. Yeah? You smile like that.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you. I don't give up, just like you said.
And tenacity.
I don't give up.
Yeah, perseverance.
Oh yes, I've been mentored, and I have really learned a lot to grow the business. It's been the Magnate. Remember that this is a platform where you can reach your audience. Partner with us. Remember to also follow us on our social media handles. Join us same time next week when we shall bring another veteran, another professional that will mentor and grow our business. Until then, bye for now.